Hello, YouTube. This is Lefty79 from the NFL Stableford League. Once again, joining you for another power ranking show. This is the final edition for PGA 2K21. And I have the rankings here. And as you can see on your screen, we have the number 32 team. And we're going to get right into it here. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the new game, and hopefully everybody's doing well. Also, I haven't heard from any of you in a while regarding the new game, and if anybody has any questions about the league, feel free to use the Discord or reach out to me on the forums because I know a lot of people have already wondered what's going on with the new game. What are the settings going to be? What are we going to do? Well, right now it's kind of a holding pattern because I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with TGC Tours and the Q School that they're going to run. And what settings they are planning on using. So what I would like to do is once that is all known, I would use those settings, and then we would basically formulate handicaps from that based on how you qualify in the Q School. If you choose not to participate in TGC Tours or you are not a member of TGC Tours, which I'm pretty sure most of you have either been a member in the past or are going to plan on being a member. I'll have to come up with something based on your previous results in the league, but I fully anticipate everybody hopefully getting into Q School because it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of people that are going to be qualifying, and it kind of like shows where you are in the game. And honestly, I would recommend everybody do that, especially if you're in this league, because it'll make it a lot easier for me to figure out what your handicap's going to be going forward. Because some of you are really rocking right now, I can tell. Like some of the scores are really getting low, and you knew it wasn't going to take that long. But as it is, I know many of you are glad to be moving on to the new game, and I hope it's going great for you. And yeah, there's some hiccups along the way, I'm sure, with the consumable balls and the grind of getting the fittings and all the other things. But once that's in the past, the gameplay of this game definitely is head and shoulders above the previous game, in my opinion. Yeah, I wish you could have did some more stuff with career mode in the beginning, but hopefully with DLC coming, like I'd like to see Pebble Beach. I'd like to see some of the courses they're going to add. I think that's going to make the career mode a little bit more appealing. There's still some tournaments I'm sure that they could add, like you know, Harbor Town would be great. Like some other courses that they haven't really ever had in this game would be awesome. I know, Spyglass Hill and the ones, the Monterey courses are going to be coming, so that'll be nice too. But as it is, yeah, looking forward to seeing what the DLC brings. With new golfers coming in, just for like, your side games and just having fun with using the create with the your non my career players. Like I don't. I mean, the difference for me is when the swings, like using the swing for Tiger and then going to my career. It is a little bit different. So there's definitely some things there. Like there's a little bit of a timing issue. It'd be cool if you could create your own swing for your own character, but that's I'm sure there's people that are clamoring for that as well uh, in the forums and whatnot. So, but for my end of it, I'm kind of laying low because I'm taking a little bit of the last week I really haven't done too much in terms of, you know, monitoring like what's going on. I've looked. I mean, I know what the latest issues are. I've been watching videos like everybody else, but for me, I've been kind of taking this time. I got to make some tweaks to the spreadsheet. I know I got to add, I got to figure out new handicaps if we're gonna have them, which I'm planning on it. I kind of said at first I wasn't going to, but I think we need them because I just think with a new game and everybody's going to be on the same level in terms of there's going to be people that are going to be already way ahead in the proceedings, and there's some people like Crushtastic who I know might not even have the game yet. So it's not really fair to them, but at the same time they kind of knew what they were signing up for. So as it is, I have a couple players on the outside looking in that are trying to get into the league. I'd like to get back to them as soon as I can, and letting them know if there's any openings available, which there possibly could be. I mean, it just depends on if you hate the game or like the game. So, but as it is, don't hate the player, hate the game. But and I think right now the Jets are probably hating a lot of things right now, but their record after the 5 weeks of PGA Two or 2K21 was not the best, and they are probably really looking forward to the new game as David Dix's Jets come in at number 32 this week to start our power rankings for week 5. They're down 2 spots and have lost 5 in a row now to start the season. Uh, really took it on the chin at home against the Dolphins, 28-22, and are looking to put this whole game in their rearview mirror. I mean, this whole season, if you think about it. But the next couple of weeks now are going to be interesting for the Jets as they'll be playing at Green Bay, who are 2-3 right now. So I'm looking forward to that. Uh, in the new game, that'll be my first matchup against David. So that'll be interesting, and that'll be at wherever Green Bay is going to play. I have to check if my course is in the game yet. And also week 7, which these will be played in the same week once we get to this point. The Jets will also be at Denver, who are 4-1. So maybe one kind of okay matchup there, but then probably one difficult matchup there for the Jets. So as it is, they're going to look to try to bounce back here and turn the season around with a 12 games to play. No one's really eliminated here at this point. You're still in it. You got 12 games left, but if you're an 0-5 team, you really want to hit the ground running with this new game. So, and as it is, when it comes to like any like the fittings or consumable balls and things like that, until I don't use API, I don't have access to any API. So basically, when it comes to like some of the ideas I've been hearing about limiting the ball usage and any of that, I really can't. I really can't advocate for that. I think it's like if you have it, you can use it, in my opinion. And like that, I made a post in the Discord saying it's kind of like scheming for your opponent in the NFL. Like some weeks you're gonna want to throw the deep pass, some weeks you're gonna want to throw short ball, some weeks you're gonna want to run more, and other weeks you're gonna have to rely more on your defense. So as it is, it's just one of those things where if you have it, you can use it in this league, in my opinion. I know there's people that have there's people that just do not want to deal with this issue with these balls, but as it is, I think it'll rectify itself in the weeks to come, hopefully, and it won't be a major issue going forward. I mean, if you want to have your ball stick on the green more power to you, in my opinion. So, but as it is, I'll take the extra flight because my character's kind of not really that powerful, but as it is, we're going to go forward here with these rankings. But that's David Dix at number 32. That's the first time that's ever happened, and he's hoping it's probably the last. So we're now going to head to number 31, and it's the former chancellor of the cellar in years past, but he's not this week. It's Art Vandelay and the Arizona Cardinals at number 31, checking in at 0-5. They did not change from last week, but they did lose at home to Philadelphia, 27-24. Yeah, Zuby came in there and took that win in the desert, so that dropped Art down to 0-5, and definitely looking forward to a fresh new beginning here in week number 6. Who he will be taking on the Seattle Seahawks on the road, who are 2-3. That'll be a good one. Mark, I know, is kind of had a little bit of an up and down beginning to his rookie campaign as a uh, owner here in the league. And then Art will face an old foe, the New Orleans Saints, at home in week 7, who are 4-1 and right now are probably the shock of the league so far, in Greg McMillan. So that'll be an interesting one on PC as well. So we'll see if they maybe hook that one up live. But that would be great to see. But as it is, Art, is always in good spirits. I know he's probably chomping at the bit to get back. I know a lot of people are. I mean, I've had people ask me when the season's starting up again. I'm like, well, it's right there on the forums, October 27th. So we got about a week. But as it is, the tours are doing their exhibition events right now. So this is subject to change. Like if it does push into November, do not be surprised because I'm not sure if they're going to have their Q school set up by November or if they're going to have their settings figured out by then. I'm hoping they do, but we'll find out for sure. I'm sure in the next, after this round of exhibition events is what I'm guessing. But don't quote me on that, as I do not have a direct line to Doily. But as it is, some of you may have that direct line and could let me know. That'd be great. But as it is, I'm really wanting to go to the settings that the tours are going to use because that's what this league was built on. I mean, when we started this league up, well, when I started this league up, it was the original TGC Tour settings that we started with, and then things evolved from there, as we all know. So as it is, yeah, I would like with a new game to like establish the settings from the get-go. So, but as it is, this really has nothing to do with Art. But you know what? Art is a good guy, and we like having him in the league. And I fully expect that he's going to get his first win pretty soon. I have a feeling. But now we're going to hit number 30 here, and let's find out who that is. Well, another guy who is having a rough season, and that's the Houston Texans of Paul. The Taft man's 0-5, and he's down one spot this week after losing at Jacksonville 28-24. Really no shame in losing to Jacksonville, as that's a tough divisional opponent there. And right now the Texans are pretty much, yeah, they're 5 games out for the division, and that's a huge hole to have to dig out of as a defending division champion. But you know what? Stranger things have happened, and there's still 12 games to play. So at the end of the day, Paul's going to be looking ahead here to his schedule. He's got a bye week in week 6, so he's got an extra week to prepare. Uh, Actually, he doesn't really get the extra week because he just gets to play one less game, as he'll go to week 7 and play. He'll go to Las Vegas in week 7 to play the Raiders, who are at 2-3. So this is probably not a bad thing for Paul, as he only has to play one game on the week back, whereas most everybody else will be playing 2. And as it is, he gets an opponent that is maybe not, playing their best right now, but we'll see. In the new game, everything is going to be different. So as it is, it's probably not a bad thing there for Paul to only have one game on the return week, when we resume things in week 6 and week 7, as we will be combining those 2 weeks the next time we have a game window. And now we will move to number 29. But Paul, it's not over. And at the end of the day, you're probably gonna be, in a little bit better shape with Xbox, because I know with Xbox I've been hearing that things aren't quite as bad with this new game. So as it is, I fully expect, the way the Xboxers play all the time, and they're very engaged and they have a great community. Uh, I have a feeling that some of the people that are struggling in Xbox are gonna keep at it, and I have a feeling Paul's gonna turn this thing around. As we now head to number 29, another team in need of a turnaround. It's the Minnesota Vikings of Andrew. Uh, Never seen him at 0-5 before. First time for everything. But the Purple are up 3 spots though this week after showing some good signs of life at home against the Bears, in their divisional rival in week 5 with a 29-27 defeat. So it was a close game, but the Vikings defense just a little bit leaky and weren't able to keep the Bears out of the end zone there. So as it is, the Vikings, uh, now I look ahead here to their week 6 game. It's at Miami, and that's a team that's had a little bit of a resurgence here in recent weeks, but they're only 3-2, and I know they came out of the blocks a little bit a little bit struggling, but we'll see if the Vikings can uh, put one together down there in Miami and maybe get their first win of the year. Uh, it's weird to say that, but at the end of the day, that's the reality of it all. So, and then Andrew does get a little bit of a break in week 7 as he has a bye week. So the Vikings only have one game, just like the Texans do, on the week back. So that might work in their favor and allow them to get a little bit more time to get acclimated with everything. So, but now it's time to head to number 28 and another new player in the league who is finding it a little bit rough right now. It's the Washington Commanders of Gatorman, who is 1-4 after losing at home to Tennessee 29-26. Another high-scoring affair. Uh, but at that home venue, you knew the scores were going to be high. Unfortunately, the Commanders just weren't able to get the firepower they needed to pull that one out, and they take one. They drop one spot from last week, so not a very big drop because they are showing a proclivity to putting points on the board. It's just that that defense is not doing them any favors right now. But hopefully, with the new game, Mitch will figure things out. I know right now he's kind of having a little bit of a struggle, but it's to be expected. It's early days. But as it is, it doesn't get any easier in week 6 for the Commanders on the week back, as the Bears, they'll have to travel to Chicago, to the Windy City, to take on a 3-2 Bears team that's been looking pretty good this season. And then the Commanders are back home to play the Packers, who are 2-3. So a back-to-back NFC North attack coming for the Commanders. So we'll see how they handle both of those teams who are looking to uh, keep pace in that NFC North, as that division's pretty close right now. But for the Commanders, yeah, they've fallen a little bit behind here in the NFC East, as right now it's the Giants who have definitely made some hay in the beginning here, and the Eagles. So they already are finding themselves a handful of games behind. So if the Commanders can figure it out and take command in the new game, they have definitely have a chance. I mean, everything's pretty much wide open right now, heading into this new era. As we now head to number 27, let's find out. It's the Atlanta Falcons of Prouse, who are 1-4. They've lost their last 3 now, and they're down one spot this week after losing at Tampa Bay 23-20. So that was a tough one there. That's not an easy place to play at the Do Sombrero. That's a tough place. The home crowd there is pretty difficult, but the Falcons were not able to pull one out over their division rivals in the NFC South, and now find themselves down in the basement there. But we'll see if they can turn it around in the weeks to come, as in week 6 they'll be playing at home against the San Francisco 49ers, who've been a little bit up and down this season. We'll find out who's going to be owning that team when we come back. But they're 2-3 right now. And then in week 7, they'll be traveling to Cincinnati, an Earsy boy, who's 2-3. So the Falcons have a chance here in the next couple weeks to maybe put some wins on the board and get right back into relevance in the NFC South, which, right now nobody. I mean, right now you got the Buccaneers who are, 4-1, but it's still. I'm gonna keep saying it. It's still early. But now we move on from the Falcons, and we move on to a team that I know pretty well. A team that's had its struggles lately here. It's the Green Bay Packers of Lefty, who are 2-3 right now after losing their last 3 now, and they're down 3 spots this week after losing in London to the Giants 28-24. It's kind of funny how life imitates art. Unfortunately, yeah, the Packers in real life are having a hard time as well. So we're going to try everything we can to turn this thing around, as the Packers will now take it back home to the New York Jets, and they're going to try not to get swept by the New York teams, or New Jersey, if you like. But the Jets are 0-5, as we've already talked about them, and we've also talked about the Commanders, where the Packers will be playing in Week 7, who are 1-4. So a schedule on paper that looks favorable to the Packers, but as they say, NFL Stableford games aren't played on paper. They're played on TV sets or monitors. So we'll see how that goes for the Packers in week number 26. I mean, actually, it's, we know where the games are actually played, but it's an old Sports Center. I think that's a Kenny Mayne reference there. Had to throw that in there. But now we head to the top 25 and a team that's looking to get rowdy. And they haven't really had much of a chance so far this season, but maybe in the new 2K23 era they'll be able to. It's the Dallas Cowboys of Sky Blue Ben. Now the king of posting is 2-3 here in the early days of this season, and he's down 4 spots after losing on the road at Los Angeles at the Rams, to be specific, 28-22. Oh, the Rams really had their number that week, and the Cowboys just weren't able to get too much going there on the road. But they're going to look to turn things around starting Week 6 with a divisional matchup at Philadelphia on Sunday Night Football. So that's going to be interesting, as the Eagles are 4-1 and flying pretty high right now. So we'll see if the Cowboys can get things going in Week 6 and get right back into the thick of that NFC East. And then in Week 7, well, it's a back-to-back Brew Crew schedule, as the Cowboys will be hosting the Detroit Lions, who are 3-2. So should be some couple interesting matchups there for the Cowboys in the weeks to come. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Sky Blue Ben turns things around for the bunch from Dallas. As we now move up to number 24, well, we go from the Cowboys to the Colts. And the Colts are at number 24, down 4 spots this week at 2-3. Pizer has lost his last 2 now. And he did lose at Denver, 29-25, in a very high-scoring affair between the Battle of the Horsies there, as the Colts just weren't able to hang with them in terms of scoring the points. So now the Colts will ride off to figure out what they're going to do in Week 6, as they now host the Jacksonville Jaguars in a divisional matchup in the AFC South. The Jaguars are 3-2, and looking to stay, in that AFC South division battle there. But right now they're looking pretty good for at least, a playoff spot. But we'll see. But then the Colts also get ramped it up. The difficulty level ramps up a little bit, as then in Week 7 they will travel at Tennessee, who are undefeated right now at 5-0. So not an easy schedule for the Colts, but a very pivotal one, as they have a couple divisional matchups coming their way, and a big chance for Indianapolis to make an impact in that AFC South. As we now move up to the Michael Jordan's number 23, said to throw a 2K23 reference in there. Let's find out who we have. Well, it's the Bills Mafia checking in at 2-3. Patrick's down 5 spots this week, though, after losing at home to Pittsburgh by a single point, 25-24. Very close matchup there, but unfortunately the Bills Mafia went home not too happy after that, as that was a AFC matchup there that could come back to haunt them later on, but we'll have to find out. But they can't look back now, as we're heading into the new era. The Bills will take on the Kansas City Chiefs at Chiefs Kingdom at Arrowhead, and they're 3-2. So that's a huge matchup there for two teams that are looking to turn things around in the early going here. But then the Bills will get a bye week in Week 7, so they get a little bit of a break with a 1-game slate for the Week 6 and 7 combined week. So not a bad deal for them, and we'll see if they can make that work and get back to the winning ways of Buffalo. As we now move up to number 22, let's find out who gets double deuces. It's the Seattle Seahawks of Horace Phoenix, or Anubis Phoenix, or Mark, if you will, as he is now 2-3 and down 5 spots this week, after losing at the Saints 26-24. Put up a good fight there on the road in the Big Easy, but just was not quite enough, as Greg has been on fire lately, and the Seahawks just were not able to slow them down. So the Saints did win that one over the Seahawks, but now Mark is going to try to turn things around in week number 6 with a matchup at home against the Arizona Cardinals of Art Vandelay, who are 0-5. So that's going to be their first matchup in the combined week. And then it'll be at the LA Chargers, who are 4-1. That's going to be a good one. Two pretty good players on Xbox, and that's going to be a matchup to be looking forward to. Not going to say too much about the Arizona game, but as it is, that is a divisional matchup. So that's a big deal. So if the Seahawks want to make some inroads in that NFC West, they're going to have to take down the plucky Art Vandelay and his Arizona Cardinals. As we now move to Blackjack number 21, let's see who we have there. A team that's kind of got some limbo going on right now. It's the San Francisco 49ers of Crushtastic, Jason. They're 2-3 right now, and they took a little bit of a tumble here. 8 spots this week after losing at Carolina 28-26. That's a tough one, as there's a lot of shuffling this week with records and with teams that made a couple teams made a big jump, but this 49ers team tied for the biggest drop of the week, unfortunately, after losing that game on the road at Carolina. So no, in years past, I mean you know, that used to be a win, but as it is, the Panthers are very much improved this season, and we'll find that out shortly. But as it is, the 49ers a little bit up and down this season, but they're going to have something to look forward to when they get back, as they'll be playing at Atlanta to come back in week 6, who are 1-4. So that'll be an interesting one. And then you'll have the Chiefs at home, who are 3-2. So that'll be a battle of two pretty decent teams there. As the Chiefs, Kike is always a tough matchup, and Crushtastic and Kike go pretty far back in this league. So that'll be an interesting one. And Prowse, you can't look past either, as coming into the new game, I'm sure he's going to be amped up and ready to go with the Falcons. So as it is, we'll find out if Crush is back in the new game. He did reach out to me and let me know that he might end up just going current gen, or 2K21 gen, and then going into the new gen with a Xbox. But we'll find out if people on the Xbox community want to accept him. He's all yours. I'm just kidding, Jason. But I know he's got lots of pals on the Xbox side too, so going back to 24K. So, but as it is, we'll look to see if the 49ers come back with the gold rush in the new game. As we now move to the top 20, and the aforementioned Carolina Panthers of Josiah. Highest ranking probably ever in this league for the Panthers. They're 2-3 and they're up 5 spots this week on the heels of a 2-game winning streak after beating the 49ers at home 28-26. So just when he was getting hot in the new game, we got to go to the new one. But as it is, I'm sure the Panthers wouldn't have it any other way, as that 2-3 record has them right in the thick of it in the NFC West. So can't really feel like too bad about that. But as it is, we'll find out who the Panthers are going to take on next. As next in week 6, they're at the LA Rams. So that'll be interesting. As the Rams, uh, are a little bit up and down this season. So we'll find out what happens there. But that's two PC players that could hook it up. And then it's versus Tampa Bay in week 7. So that's the big divisional matchup. So Josiah, if he can run the next couple, he could find himself in the top spot in the NFC West. So, or in the NFC South, I mean. How's that? I mean, that'd be great for him. But as it is, the Buccaneers are going to have something to say about that as they're 4-1 right now, heading into that combined week. So, but kudos to the Panthers, though. It's been a long road, but Josiah, finally, it's starting to pay off, and we'll see if the Panthers have some more, if they can keep restoring that roar and keep working their way up these rankings. As we now move up to number 19, another team that had a little bit of a resurgence this week, it's the Las Vegas Raiders of Lucas, who move up to 2-3 after a big win on the road at Kansas City, a division rival, 27-26. So the Raiders were the highest gainer of the week. After that win, they moved up 9 spots. So congrats to Lucas on that. As I know the Raiders were struggling a little bit to begin the season, but they're hoping that's all behind them. And now greener pastures look to be ahead as they now have a bye week coming up in week 6. And then in week 7, they play versus the Houston Texans, who are 0-5. So gotta thank the schedule maker for that, as maybe this is coming at a good time, especially with the transition to the new game. But as it is, you really can't look past the Texans, as Paul will definitely be giving it his all, and we'll see if the Raiders can continue to make a climb here in these rankings. As we now move up to number 18, let's find out who we have here. Well, it's our defending Stableford League champions, the Cincinnati Bengals, down 6 spots this week at 2-3. Earsy boy had a little bit of a struggle at Baltimore this week. 25-23, they lost that one. And now that they've lost 2 in a row now. So that's tough. As the Bengals finding themselves a little bit down here at the moment. But that AFC North is really tough, and you really don't want to fall too far behind. But as it is, we're moving into a new game now, so everything could be changed. You never know. But as it is now, the Bengals will take on a Saints team on the road in Week 6. That's gonna be a great matchup. The Saints are 4-1, and then they go back home to take on Atlanta, who's 1-4. So a tale of two matchups there. Is one team is riding high and the other team is really struggling. So we'll see if the Bengals can put out a good effort these next 2 games and try to get back over 500. As right now, they'd be on the outside looking in for the playoffs. But they're the highest ranked 2-3 team right now. As we now head to the number 17 spot, let's go and find out who we have there. All right, let me get back here to the game, as I believe something happened here. All right, we're back. That was just a little bit of a hiccup there with the game. As we now move to number 17, let's find out what team we got there. Well, we just passed it. It's the Miami Dolphins of Coinhen, who are 3-2 right now, up 7 spots this week. So nice jump for them after a big win at home, actually as on the road at New Jersey at East Rutherford against the Jets, 28-22. So a big win for the Dolphins. They put two in a row now together, and that's just in time for this jump into the new era. And we'll find out who the Dolphins will be taking on here in Week 6. Well, it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings at home, who are 0-5 right now, and then they'll be taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So a little bit of a homestand here for the Dolphins. They have a good chance here to keep piling on some wins, as with the Vikings coming in, and then you got the Steelers at 3-2. So a couple, the Vikings I know are not going to be the same. I have a feeling that that 0-5 it was an aberration, but we'll find out. But as it is, Zach's getting geared up for the start of the new season, and right now finds himself just shy of the halfway mark here in these power rankings. As now we do hit the halfway point, let's find out who's number 16. It's the Kansas City Chiefs of Kike at 3-2, down 7 spots though this week after a loss at home to the Vegas Raiders, 27-26. So not really, it wasn't a blowout, but it was a tough loss at home nevertheless. But as it is, the Chiefs still are going to try to turn things around here, heading into the new era at home against the Buffalo Bills, who are 2-3, and then they'll travel in Week 7 at the 49ers, who are 2-3 also. So we'll see if Chiefs Kingdom can right the ship and get things going again. I'm sure Kike will be just fine. He may end up having to find a new kingdom though, as I'm not really sure if that course is going to make it over to the new game or not. But as it is, kind of a reminder to everybody that if your course does not make it to the new game, that you do have every right to pick a new one. Just make sure that it's tour worthy and that it's to your liking, because I know we've heard about some courses that are just unplayable in this new game because of the green speeds and whatnot. So just please take that into account before you get your new course lined up. So I will be very lenient about this because there's still 12 games to play. I don't want to rush it back with you if your course isn't what you were expecting. So I will give people time, but as it is, you got to work with me as well. So if you have a home game coming back, which in this case Kike does, I would just want to make sure that everything's lined up before uh, too late in the game window. Like I'll give a couple days for sure lenience in terms of getting that course figured out and getting it to where you like it and getting something that you would want to play at. Because I know with this transition, everybody's going to be going through this, and not everybody's course is going to make it to the new game, and that's just the reality of it all. So, but as it is, I'll always work with you. As we now move to number 15, let's see who we have after that little explanation there about the new courses. It's the Detroit Lions. They're 3-2 right now. CF has them down 8 spots though after losing at New England 29-25. A little bit of a harsh drop there, but there was a lot of change and a lot of movement this week, and I don't think that's indicative of the Lions so far, as they are ahead of the pack in the NFC North. So I believe they have the tiebreaker over the Bears, but I can't be quoted on that. But as it is, the Lions are going to look now to get back to winning ways in week number 7, as they are off in week 6. They have a bye. But in week 7, they'll be at Dallas and Sky Blue Ben, who are at 2-3. So probably a fortuitous schedule there, as the Lions only have to play one game on the return of the season. So, but as it is right now, they are in the upper half of the league and can't really complain too much about that. As you now move up to number 14, let's find out who we have there. Well, it's someone that's been looking to move up the last few couple weeks now. It's the New England Patriots of Franz. Welcome back to the upper half of the league, Franz, as you are 3-2, up 8 spots after winning 3 games in a row now, and that big win at home against Detroit, as previously mentioned. So as it is now, the Patriots definitely, after a slow start, are starting to get things going, and you knew they would. And now it's going to continue on the road at the Cleveland Browns, who are 4-1. So Belichick returns to Cleveland, and we'll find out how that goes. As the Patriots definitely are gonna want to get that W for their head coach. So we'll see. As that's a big matchup in terms of AFC playoff picture as well down the road. That could be a tiebreaker. So that's a big one. And St. Eric is going to look to try to keep that good that good season going in Cleveland. And then the Patriots will take on the Chicago Bears at home, who are 3-2 and playing some pretty darn good Stableford themselves. So pretty difficult schedule coming into the new game for Franz, but if anybody out there can take the challenge on head on, it's got to be Franz. So looking forward to seeing how the Patriots keep going here after that big 8-spot jump this week. As we now head to lucky number 13, it's the Baltimore Ravens, nevermore, of Eddie, who are 3-2 and they're up 6 spots. So another big jumper. After a win at home against the Cincinnati Bengals, 25-23, the Ravens now just outside just a game back in the AFC North, so they're definitely looking to keep pace in that really tight division. But now the Ravens will take on the Giants, and that's going to be a battle at MetLife. The Giants are 4-1 right now, and then things just get even easier in Week 7 for Baltimore as they will take on the Cleveland Browns at 4-1 at home. So the Ravens, basically from the frying pan into the fire here with this new game. So we'll see, though. I mean, hey, these are the games that get you ready for December and January. So we'll see how the Ravens stack up here in the next couple weeks. But boy, oh boy, yeah, that's not an enviable schedule, that's for sure. As we now move up to number 12, another team in the AFC North, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers of Pat Strife at 3-2 right now, up 4 spots. They've won 2 straight now, and they just won at Buffalo, 25-24. So the Steelers have turned things around nicely after after some early struggles, and now are going to hope to keep that momentum going at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 4-1. So that'll be an interesting matchup coming out of the break. And then they'll take on the Miami Dolphins on the road at 3-2. Now, boy, 2 Twitch streamers there. That would be interesting to see if they would hook that one up live. That would be a fun one, as I know Pat and Zach both stream a lot. So that would be an interesting Week 7 battle. But hey, just a suggestion. I know with this new game, I mean, it'd be good to test out maybe to see how the live play is. But we'll have to find that out as we now move up to number 11. And let's find out who we have there. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars of Corey, who are 3-2 and up 4 spots this week after beating the Texans at home 28-24. So a big win over their divisional rival there. And now the Jaguars are going to look to keep things going against another divisional rival in Week 6 at the Indianapolis Colts, who are 2-3. And then they get to take on the New York Giants at home, who are 4-1. So, yeah, the Jaguars definitely have a good chance here to make up some ground in that AFC South. But the Giants, yeah, that's going to be a benchmark game. That's going to be a battle. So we'll see if Corey's up for the challenge here coming into 2K23. As we now hit the top 10, we're finally in the top 10. And it's Los Angeles Rams of Kevin, who are up 4 spots at 3-2. Big win at home against Dallas by 6 points there, 28-22. So the Rams definitely are turning it around in terms of the offense. They're putting the points on the board as we're used to seeing. And next they'll be taking on the Carolina Panthers at home in Week 6, who are 2-3 themselves. So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting to see if the resurgent Panthers have something for the Rams in Week 6. That'll be interesting. And they're both on PC, so this could be a potential live matchup. We'll have to find out. I know there's a lot of time difference there, but you know what? That can always be negotiated, because the Rams only have one game coming out of the break in the next window. So as they have a bye Week 7. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see if the Rams can keep the momentum going and keep maintaining that lead that they have in the NFC West going forward. As we now move up to number 9, it's the Chicago Bears, the highest ranked 3-2 team. And again, we have to reset because of issues.
Choose the team you want to start your franchise with.
Little technical difficulties there, folks. We'll figure this out right away here as we get back to the Bears at 3-2, and Austin, who are up 2 spots after winning at Minnesota 29-27. Big win there in the NFC North for the Bears, as they are locked into a nice battle with the Lions for the top spot in that division. And next, they'll be taking on the Washington Commanders at home in Week 6, who are 1-4. And then in Week 7, the Bears will travel at New England and Franz, who are 3-2. So a good opportunity for the Bears to keep the winning ways going in the Windy City. You gotta admire the comeback and the turnaround for that team. The Bears have really never had much success in this league, other than the first season, I want to say. So it is refreshing to see them moving up here, and the Bears definitely well deserving of this number 9 spot. As we now move up to number 8, the Ocho. Well, we have Chinatown's Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 4-1, up 2 spots after beating Atlanta at home 23-20 in that defensive battle. A good win though, nevertheless, against a division rival. And next we're going to find out who they play. Well, it's going to be a tough one on the road at Pittsburgh. So the Buccaneers will have to take on the 3-2 team in Pittsburgh on the road in Week 6, and then they'll be back on the road again to take on the Panthers at 2-3 in a divisional matchup. So the Bucs will be hitting the road with the new game starting off. So we'll see if the momentum continues for the NFC South division leaders. I mean, they're tied right now, technically, as there are 2 teams at 4-1 in that division. And we'll get to the other one in just a moment. The other one's been on an absolute roll, and we'll find out who they are. But first, we're going to get to number 7, Lucky 7. Well, the Lucky 7 goes to Zuby and the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 4-1, up 1 spot this week after a big win on the road at Arizona, 27-24 in the Battle of the Birds. So they've won 4 in a row now, and they're going to look to keep that going in the division at home against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 6, who are 2-3. And then after that, they'll get a bye in Week 7. So favorable schedule coming up for the Eagles, as they only have 1 game on the slate in the return week. So that'll be big for them. And if they can keep that momentum going, they'll be able to keep pace in that NFC East with the Giants, who are coming up in this power ranking show shortly. But before we can get to them, we got to get to number 6, and let's find out who that is. It's the Denver Broncos of Austin, who are 4-1. No change this week after beating the Colts at home 29-25. They've won 2 in a row now, so that's big for the Broncos, and they're keeping pace in that AFC West. And next they'll be playing on the road at the Chargers, who are 4-1. So that's a big matchup in the division right there, coming back into the new game. And then they'll play the Jets at home, who are 0-5. So wow, there's two big matchups there. Really, the Chargers one is the decided the lead in the division, and then the Jets game is more of a, hey, like, we got to get our home course figured out and got to establish that dominance again at home. So we'll see if the Broncos can keep doing that and if they can keep moving up this list. As we now move up to number 5, we're in the top 5, and we're going right next door to the Cleveland Browns of Insane Eric, who dropped 4 spots this week and are at 4-1 after losing at home to the Chargers 28-26. So unfortunately, they took a little bit of a drop after being number 1 last week, but they're going to look to turn things around in the new game as they take on Franz and the New England Patriots at home, who are 3-2, and then they'll take on the Ravens on the road, who are also 3-2. So that's 2 tough AFC matchups right there. for the Browns, but I'm sure Insane Eric will be up for it, and my guess is he cannot wait to get this season going again. As we now move up to number 4, another team that has been a big shock this season, no pun intended, but it's the Los Angeles Chargers, who are 4-1 and up one spot after another big win at home against the Seahawks, 26-24, for 3 big wins in a row now. And now the Chargers are going to look to bolt up at home against the Denver Broncos, who are 4-1, and that will be their big clash for the lead in the AFC West coming into the new game. And then they'll be taking on the Seahawks at home as well in Week 7. So a big slate coming up for the Chargers in the next game window, and they definitely have a chance to establish that top spot in the division, as right now they are rated a couple spots above the Broncos, and that matchup is going to be huge for power rankings purposes as well. As we now move up to the number 3 spot, and let's find out who we have. This is probably going to be the biggest surprise of this owner's career, but it's the New Orleans Saints of Greg McMillan, who are 4-1 and up one spot this week after another big win at home against the Seattle Seahawks, 26-24. That's 3 in a row now, and the Saints are looking for more as they will be taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 6, who are 2-3, and then they'll be taking it on the road at Arizona, who are 0-5. So they could potentially move to 6-1 here after it's all said and done. Now, I can't put the cart before the horse here, but really impressed with the way Greg's been playing in the old game. We'll see if that translates to the new game. I know he already kind of made a comment already, but you know what? Honestly, with the schedule and the way he's been playing, can't put it past them. As it is, the Saints are a force to be reckoned with this year, and you love to see it. As we now head to number 2, let's find out who takes that number 2 spot. It's none other than our pal Tag Rocket and the New York Football Giants, who are at 4-1, up one spot this week after beating the Packers on the road in London 28-24. 4 big wins in a row for Don as they keep stacking the wins. As per usual, the Giants are just a force in this league every single season since their second season in the league. And now the Giants will take on the Baltimore Ravens at home at MetLife, who are 3-2 in Week 6, and then at the Jaguars, who are also 3-2. So not an easy schedule there for the Giants. But if anybody can negotiate these next couple weeks, it's Don and the Giants, who are well deserving of this number 2 spot and are tied for that top spot in the NFC East right now. So every game's gonna be big now going forward here, obviously, but any given Sunday. So we'll find out as the Giants stay where they are. They keep staying at the top of the league, and it's just a lot of excellence coming out of Big Blue in the last 2 or 3 seasons now. And you got to give Don a lot of credit. He's always classy in victory and in defeat. So always love to see that as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing that in the new game as well. As we now move to number 1, this is the first time I believe this team has ever been number 1 in these rankings. And it's the Tennessee Titans. Tightening up at 5-0. It's tight. It's time to tighten up with Platypus Brigade, who's up one spot this week to the top spot after another win at Washington, 29-26 for 5 in a row. What a start to a season. It's just almost a shame that everything has to change now, but as it is, I mean the Titans made the most of it and swept their slate of 5 games in 2K21 in an impressive fashion, I might add. But now they have a bye week in Week 6, and you don't want to get rusty during the bye. But as it is, because it is a combined week, they will have one game against a division rival, and that is the Indianapolis Colts at home, who are 2-3. So will the undefeated season continue? The 1972 Dolphins are watching carefully to see if that continues. But as it is, I want to thank you for joining me. That is your number one team this week in the NFL Stableford League power rankings after week 5. I hope you enjoyed the show. This is the last one for PGA Tour 2K21. It's almost an end of an era here, but we're going to start up a new one probably in November. I'll have the next show out after. They'll obviously have to wait till November since we're not going to kick off the new season or the new game until the end of the month. So once again, this has been Lefty79, the commissioner of the NFL Stableford League, wishing you a great time in the new game. Hopefully everything's going well for you, and I will see you again down the road. Goodbye, everybody.